Hi, guys, and welcome to another episode of Business Blueprint. I'm your host, Sergio Davids, and today we're discussing all things trading and business related with our guest, Kenny Simon, CMTrading Senior Strategist. How are you doing today, Kenny?
Very well, thank you, Sergio. Thank you for
Awesome,
having me.
awesome, outstanding. So, Kenny, last week,
Yes.
when we kicked things off, we spoke about McDonald's, and you were very keen to trade McDonald's. So, I just want to find out for you from yourself, maybe you can share with the listeners, how'd your trade go?
Yes, actually, the trade went really well.
Yeah.
So I accumulated close to about $400 in my trade
Oh, wow.
on the upside. Yes, on McDonald's, and I've got some very interesting news
Yeah.
to share with the traders and investors out there about
Go for it. I'm sure
McDonald's.
everyone will be keen to hear your insights.
That'd be nice. Okay, so yes, with McDonald's trading at 267, 268 level as of now, we're looking at some big news. After the earnings, there were reports on McDonald's talking about the enthusiastic return of institutional investors who
Into
are
McDonald's.
into
Yeah.
McDonald's. Yes,
Yeah.
so that collectively has accumulated 70% of stakeholders or shareholders. So that means 70% of the entire shareholding of McDonald's are owned by institutional investors, and it's made up of about 25 shareholders. And one of them is the Vanguard Group, holding the most, I think, at 9.4% or 9.5% stake. Now, it's also been announced that the institutional investors are happy with investing onto McDonald's, and I think that is a positive for McDonald for its
Yeah.
future prospective traders and investors as well.
Um, you know, after a company releases its earnings, right? The
Yeah,
trends can, whether there's an upside or a downside, they can continue for a few days.
that's right.
Um,
True.
Looking at McDonald's, I mean, I see they're up by about nearly 3%. Is there
That's
still
true.
some upside there?
Yes, well, the thing is that there's always the prices never actually trade in a straight line up or a straight line down. So it's always
Right.
has got this bumpy ride. It's like a staircase going up or a staircase going down,
Yeah.
right? So at this moment of time, looking at the charts, we are looking at a very strong body of the candle as well, signaling a very good, nice, steady run to the upside. But in saying that, we've got some levels of resistance to be expected as well, and that's anywhere between 271 to 275 area. And that could actually mean that there is a possibility of a short to medium term type reversal, but then
Okay.
it does also look like upon breaking out from that level, more upside is expected.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, advice for anyone wanting to trade McDonald's?
I would think it's probably best to ride the trend, and the trend at this moment of time is to the upside. And of course, be watchful and wary of resistance level at the level of 275 as well as 280s level. So 275 to 280s level could give out or give us some signals of potential reversal.
Cool.
That's basically it.
Moving on to, another big stock, Apple. It
Oh,
released its
yes.
earnings. Whenever I
Yes.
think of Apple, right? I mean, if you look back at their
Yeah.
earnings, they had
Yes.
quite a hit and miss last year. And I mean, it was one quarter where, they didn't make it.
That's right.
Would it be fair to say though, at nearly
Mhm.
$3 trillion, market cap, are they too
Oh, yes.
big to fail?
Um, Too big to fail. Sometimes it can get connected to the idea of price wise, overbought and oversold. Sometimes
Right.
there are scenarios where it gets priced in, and then we we all would actually go through some reversals of price. But you are right in saying that there's lots more positivity. But despite the slowdown in sales as of last week,
Yeah.
which was the biggest news, because in the S&P 500, Apple has got the biggest weight within the
Yeah.
S&P 500 basket. So we're looking at, from the charts perspective as well, yes, it's got a nice run to the upside. But again, as what we have done with crude oil and the others as well, we've got expectations to the upside, but we've also got we've also would experience some resistance level as well. So we are looking at prices at this moment of time trading at $177 dollars level, and that is actually giving us some more room to the outside, with potential resistance at only at the 180 level or the 190 level. So yes, we've still got some room up, but we just want to be a little careful
Yeah.
to give some space for reversal. Yeah.
So with Apple,
Mhm.
I mean, Apple's got, many fingers in many different pies. I mean,
Oh
they have a
yes,
streaming
exactly.
service. Never
Absolutely.
mind the phone business. They've also got
Yep.
a giant, well, comparatively expensive VR headset they've released. Um, it's an ever-changing, ever-growing tech company. Um,
Absolutely. You're right.
my only concern though is what's happening in China with regards to Apple. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, not that long ago,
Mm-hmm.
the Chinese government ruled that no government employee was to use an Apple phone anymore. I think it
Yes,
was part
correct.
of a stimulus thing for their
You're
own,
right.
to support
That's
their own
right.
local businesses. Maybe Huawei. I don't know who has the
Mm,
contract now, but those are
that's right.
millions of government employees just suddenly out of a cell phone contract. That must be a hit to Apple.
Yes, absolutely. No, you're right. Exactly. And that's why, that term too big to fail, I
Yeah,
think, have got them going through loads of challenges, of course. But I think, their business model of diversification itself is one of
yeah,
the best as well, amongst all these tech companies, public listed ones. So I think they've probably got it all sussed out as well. But again, they've got to be careful with what they do, especially with China, and a lot of other plans of China as well, that is
yeah.
coming up, and sort of going in parallel with with all the plans that Apple has. So I think their focus should actually be their stakeholders, and they've got to be a little bit weary of what their next step is, because China is not only watching, but China is, just in parallel coming up with plans of their own
Yeah.
as well. So, yeah, it's a tough one to actually just suss out what the direction
What's
is.
going on?
But
Yeah.
yeah, but as of now, I think the best thing to do is to break the price patterns up, so that we've got a short term, medium, and long term views or vision. So that would actually then help investors to plan ahead in stages, as opposed to just have that very long term vision on price action, especially. So yeah, that would be my advice.
Cool.
Just trading stages for Apple.
Trading stages.
Mm,
Okay.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
moving on to the world of commodities.
Of
So,
course.
oil has had quite a bit of a roller coaster. I mean, we spoke about this on the last podcast,
That's
and
right.
it looks like it's heading down to $80.
That's
Do
right.
you think the situation, especially in the Middle East, has got some effect on the oil supply at the moment?
That is right. There's got a lot of connection with what's going on. War is going on. It's trading at 80 to
80,
$81. Yeah,
yeah,
at this moment of time, I think. But if we look back to last month, they've actually agreed. OPEC and its members have actually agreed to actually decrease the price. And then over the weekend, they gathered around again, and they confirmed that definitely they will want to cut production, and they want to stick to the plan of cutting the production, where
Yeah.
Arabia and
Yeah.
Russia would actually have got an amount that they have agreed on. So it's about 300 barrels per day on the Russian side, but it's up to about 1 million barrels a day for Saudi Arabia to cut the productions from. So it's going to last until the end of this year, as they say.
Yeah.
Over the weekend, they've actually declared that. So that will only call for more price increase because of the decrease in supply, and
Yeah.
that would actually then increase in with steady demand still increasing. There would only be a possibility of prospective price increase. So that's
Speaking
basically
of price increase, now
it. Hmm.
gold has been very interesting for me
That's
because,
true.
I always thought that, and I wonder if it's still the case that, gold's a bit of a safe haven. When the
Hmm.
economy's not doing well, people turn to gold.
That's right.
And
Yep.
gold has been struggling to even reach the $2,000 level, for the
That's right.
past year and a half. And yet, just in the
Hmm.
last week, we've seen it breach $2,000 multiple times. I mean, it's back
Yes.
down to about what,
1960,
19, yeah,
1980
1980
something,
something, yeah.
85, 86. Yeah.
But yeah, what's happening with gold?
Goal is really interesting. If we take a look at, I mean, there are both ends of it. Of course, we've got the political, geopolitical factors as well. And then we must not forget about the very frantic buying of gold from an institutional level and from a country level, basically involving China. So China has announced that 2 months ago that they are wild on buying gold. So when that happens,
That's interesting.
so
What
when
do
that
they know
happens,
that we don't?
yeah, this is the question, not $1 million question, but probably worth of gold kind of golden question.
Yeah,
So that is basically driving prices down amongst the elite, so they can actually buy cheaper, I would guess. And if we look at from a charts perspective, it's really interesting to look at the resistance level having a very strong three touch points on a resistance that basically caps the price right there and giving it giving in traders and investors thinking that there would actually only be a further price fall before it rises up. So that now at this moment of time, the price, let's say it is at 1986 as of now, and it's not far away. It's just a couple of dollars away from that key resistance level and zone as well,
right.
and that is where I think it's probably going to resist going up further in order for investors and further investors, because the demand has actually increased amongst the elite to want to purchase more gold, and that would then give us some more potential of a fall of price
Yeah.
before it rises again. So yeah,
S-
that's just my take on it at this moment.
So a week ago we had FOMC,
That's right.
FOMC minutes, and the
Hmm.
Fed, decided not to, or rather just stall on increasing interest rates.
That's right.
So my question to you is that a sign of, we're avoiding a recession, i.e., interest rates, might eventually go down? And secondly, back to what we were talking about with gold,
Yeah.
is that
Hmm.
the reason for the sudden drop?
Yes, you've got it right. I think it's part of the mechanics, and it has a lot to do with the price of oil as well, because
Yeah,
it has the connection with what's going on in Europe with the price of oil, and the mechanics is such that they use it as a leverage for interest rate decisions, monetary policies as well, with all these commodity prices, including price of oil, price of gas, as well as price of gold. So all these has got a triangular kind of connection, and we call it the intermarket analysis that we do, that we sort of connect them to what the Fed uses as a tool to
Yeah.
balance out and leverage, and also to help them decide on interest rates as well. So yeah, that is basically what's been going on, and yeah, it's interesting of what the governor of the Bank of England have actually also talked about with regards to crude oil prices impacting not only Europe but UK in general. So the energy cost is basically a major risk, and that was literally being mentioned by the BOE governor. And basically, it's a risk, a major risk to the EU inflation. So crude oil basically is very important because energy costs,
Yeah.
they are used to counterbalance central banks' efforts in tightening monetary policy. So
And
that's what's going on.
especially, I think
Mhm.
it's especially true now that the northern hemisphere is heading into their winter. So
Yeah,
normally you'll
exactly.
have increased, energy usage,
That's right.
which is going to
Exactly.
increase the price. And
That is true.
finally, any
Mhm.
advice for traders out there this week?
For oil specifically, for crude oil, did we actually mention some price range? I think I will mention some price range. It's trading in a range at the moment, anywhere between 80 to 82 for the short term. And then if it actually breaks out of that price, there is a potential of it reaching the 86 to 88 US dollar level. So that's what I can see technically
Yeah.
in connection or in sort of balancing both technicals and fundamentals, or whatever that's going on in the outside world at the moment.
Awesome. And I think on that note, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much, Kenny,
Brilliant.
for your awesome
Thank you so
advice
much,
and
Sergio.
insights.
Thank you for your
Cool.
time too. Thank
Awesome.
you
I'll
very
see you on the
much.
next one.
All the best to all the traders and investors out there. Bye bye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.